guys, let's talk about the reason why the question is so important. It's really important to set up a clear question and to know how you're going to communicate with your cards. So with these cards, using the Byron Bay Lenormand, someone had asked a question about a friend who had a cancerous mole. Testing did show that it had a few cancerous cells in it, melanoma. So more tissue needed to be cut out and then stitched. So the question here is, how will it all go? What we want to keep in mind is that question, how will it all go? The cards that randomly came up were bear, sun, child, clouds, and fish. The answers that people started to give to try and interpret these cards, some were good. For example, someone said, I'm a bit concerned about the clouds and the fish. Fish can't mean money, and she's right, as though despite optimism the cells could spread, so that's a concern by one. Another said that they are reading it as uncertainty because of clouds concerning the new, here it is, large growths. They see the fish as reminiscent of cancer cells because of the independent nature of those cells. Cancer cells seem to be independent and seem to have a mind of their own, just like a fish. And this person said they're afraid the prognosis is still uncertain at this time. So that was a good, clear reading based on the question. How will it all go? There were also interesting comments about the sun being a bear, the powerful sun could be causing it. And that's interesting because you can connect the sun to the clouds here too. And bear, strong, if this is the cancer cells, that could be something as well. These are all very clear answers, except sun and clouds does not answer our question, how will it go? This is more, how did it happen? Same thing here. If we look, we got to look carefully, how will it happen? We may have an aggressive cells here that we want to take care of, so we won't want to be too lazy with this particular cancer. Some other ways that people answered are appropriate for these cards, but not appropriate for the particular question. So, for example, someone said one is needing strength to be happy over something that has been there for a while and causing concern. So you can only go with the flow for a while, and that's temporary because the clouds are white and moving and won't block the happiness out for long. They feel there's inner reflections, stirring emotions, and materialism. It might not seem as important as it was. The bear is white. They see this as protection. This sort of thing answers how the person feels, but it doesn't answer how it will go. So if the question is, how will it go in terms of how the person feels, that would be an appropriate way to answer it. Sometimes when we ask a question, we're not clear enough, and then when we pull down the cards, we realize the vagueness of it causes us to go back and have to re-ask the question so that we can communicate with the cards with more clarity. Another thing somebody said is, well, the center card is a child, so feeling a bit overwhelmed or out of his depth, taking small steps forward in the process, not having experienced it before. The mole was small, the number of cancer cells is small. That's how she saw the child. She took the bear to be a doctor who seems to be clear and optimistic by sun. Relatives are feeling worried about abundance or many cancers. Also, sun and child she saw as the child and the sun leads to cancerous moles in adulthood. The thing about these interpretations is they talk again about feelings. They're not talking about how will it go, how will the cancer removal go. It's talking about how he feels. That's more reading these more like a tarot type card reading. It was also mentioned that may need to cut wider margins, so clouds being something trouble found, fish spreading, so that could be wider margins, or having found something, so having to go cut wider margins. It may be that they caught it early, the child, but the bear is strong. And the sun is kind of like the big gift card in the deck. It's the bouquet and the sun are the big happy whoppers. You want to get these. So this is like the strength and how will it go? This is like he'll be strong. It'll go good. So if I were to read this myself, I would say these two cards indicate a positive strength. this is something new and small. A child is small, and so that would be the big against the little. So the winning it against the little tumor. Now we've got this over here, which is kind of where we are now. So we've got uncertainty in cancer cells, and the clouds, we've got the lighter sides of the clouds over here, so it's almost like things are passing. But because this is here, I think they found something, they'll watch it, and I think it's really important that they maintain it well because these clouds are here. It's almost like if you don't have everything out, this could continue. So watching it diligently will be important, and perhaps future tests, or if they want to do some kind of follow-up, things like radiation. I don't know if they'll do that, but this suggests that you really want to take this with some seriousness. This over here says he'll probably prevail because big overwhelms the small. So bear and sun is good. This is positive. And here we go, is the child. Had this been something like the coffin, then this would be big grief or big difficulty. Or even if this were something like the cross, it would be like a long burden, heavy. The bear would take on those attributes of the card next to it. But this is happy, wonderful, good. And the sun exposes, they've exposed it, that keeps them strong. Cancer itself is small. How will it go? It'll go well, but you've got to take it very seriously. Someone else had said that they think that the clouds and fish means that he might be worried or depressed about the bills incurred, because fish being billed. So if you think about that, think for a minute if that answers the question, how will it go? So it may talk about the bills, and if you're interested in knowing about the bills, that would be appropriate, but you need to think about what it is you're looking for in this question. Are we looking specifically for how the cancer will go, or how his life and situation will go? If we're looking for the cancer, then we have to take fish out of the meaning of money and take it back to what it means related to the cancer. Another thing too you can do to make this a real reading, if you take sun and clouds and mirror them, the sun does have clouds over it, so it looks like we have to pay close attention to what's going on here too. Also, the bear and fish is at the cancer, so I'm thinking strong. The cancer could be strong, so I'm thinking if you didn't pay attention, this could be a very serious problem. Because he's taking care of it when it's small, he wins the power. So when you set up a reading, here are some very clear rules to follow to make sure that you're setting up clear communication between you and the cards. First, pay attention to what you're asking. For example, here we're asking about specifically the cancer, not how someone feels. Second of all, make sure you'll understand the answer. Let's suppose this were a timing question and someone asked how long until something happened. Do you already have a language set up with the cards so that you can interpret timing? If not, you won't have a clue when the things come down what it means. Also, set up a language so that you know that when it says something, you'll understand it. For example, if this asked, is somebody agoraphobic, and then you got the card coffin, would that mean boxed in, or would that mean it's over? You have to make sure that you ask it very clearly. So you sometimes have to adjust the question so that it helps a little bit more. So for this question about agoraphobia, it may be better to turn it into something like, will she be able to leave the house now? A very positive question. That way you'll know if it's a negative card, it means no. If it's a positive card, it means she's expanding her way out. Avoid asking questions in about a negative topic in a negative way. So you can ask about negative things, like this is a very difficult topic about the cancer, but you want to make sure you use it in a positive way. For example, if this question had been, will he get sick? It would be very hard to read this because it's perceived as negative by us. So if we see negative, then it'll be confirmed. But if we see positive, then we asked a negative question, and does it mean that the negative thing will expand? So instead of getting these double negative issues that really muddle up a question, what you can ask instead is, will he be healthy? And then you'll know if you see a negative card, it takes a drop down. If you see a positive card, it goes up. So it's the same question. You're just looking for better communication with the cards. You want to be able to communicate with your cards. If you're not sure how to do timing, set up a time frame ahead of time. So the question would be something like, how will the cancer go within the next 6 months? What will be the news about the cancer within 1 year? That sort of thing. Just lump it into the question and see what the cards do for that. If you ask something and you know you set it up very clearly and you're still a little confused because the cards seem vague, You can put down some extra cards with it and take it a little bit further. What I will often do is, if I'm not quite sure, then I will put down second cards underneath. And then they start interacting or engaging with the cards above them like they're in houses. So strong diagnosis, okay, or strong message. And the Sun is with the gift card. These are the two biggies, like big, big, big. This is a really good thing this was found. The new thing, stable and anchor, it's almost like staying put. So it's like this suggests it's not spread very much. We've got clouds and man. So this may indicate, now that we're getting into the man, this connects, it may impact him more than anything else. But it also, because it is about the man, it may not be feelings. We're saying, how does this go? And we're not asking about feelings. This cloudiness could be about his physical self, not so much about confusion. The card often means confusion, but it could be confusion about what's happening within him, or unsureness. This may indicate the need for clarity or exposure with tests. And then we've got fish and key, and it's almost like the Cancer is the key, paying close attention to it. This is the secret, the way to get him back to good health is really not ignoring it, paying close attention to it. So if you're not sure about the top cards, anytime you ask a question, you can start creating something where they start engaging with each other, and without having to reshuffle everything you did with the first cards. And it may help you also learn a lot about the first card you put down as you're learning the Lenormand, because you get extra nuances on each card. Just like the Sun helped us define the bear, whether it was good or bad, these help us define the cards that are with them, whether it's good or bad.